Rejoice in the miraculous gift of a new day. Discover divine blessings unveiled in every moment. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, as the stars faded and the dawn began to paint the heavens, David stood on the balcony of his palace overlooking the fields of Bethlehem. The air was crisp, saturated with the fragrance of dew-kissed grass, and the gentle chirping of birds heralded the arrival of a new day. Once a humble shepherd, David now bore the weighty crown of Israel, a tapestry woven with moments of divine favor and human frailty. His heart, a battlefield of faith and failure, grappled with specters of his past, notably the grievous sin that had entwined his life with Bathsheba. He recalled the night when temptation had surged, the crushing weight of his choices leading to devastating consequences. Yet as the first rays of sunlight broke upon the horizon, David sensed an invitation, a chance for redemption wrapped in the morning's soft embrace. His mind wandered back to the battlefields where courage reigned triumphant over fear. He could almost hear the echoes of the people, chanting his name: Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. The heavenly presence that had accompanied him during the fight against Goliath surged through his memory, reminding him that God's hand had been upon him since the prophet Samuel anointed him, declaring him the future king of Israel. 1 Samuel 16 verse 13. Each victory had been a testament to God's faithfulness, contrasting sharply with his recent choices that had tarnished his legacy. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Psalm 51 verse 10, David whispered, trembling with the awareness of his need for divine mercy. The thought settled in his soul like a seed in rich soil, a yearning for a spirit unblemished, craving restoration in the eyes of the Almighty. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select All Notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. But even as this desperate prayer filled his lungs, the echoes of Nathan's solemn proclamation remained frozen in his thoughts. The Lord has taken away your sin, you shall not die. 2 Samuel 12 verse 13. The weight of these words was a paradox, a sinful heart still loved by God. He lifted his gaze to the gentle hills undulating in the morning light, witnessing the flock grazing with innocence, reflecting his own wandering spirit that had strayed from the truth. With newfound resolve, David found himself compelled to seek the heart of God with every fiber of his being. Each glimmering dewdrop held a promise, an assurance of God's enduring grace despite the shadows of his past. As the sky transformed into a canvas painted with hues of hope, David pondered the unfathomable depth of God's love. What awaited him on this path of recovery? A divine orchestration still quietly unfolding? As the day unfurled its arms, David's commitment to heal his spirit steadfast, grasping tightly to the grace that met him in each dawn had finally taken root. In this sacred moment of vulnerability, the King of Israel stood not on a throne, but at the precipice of restoration, ready to embrace whatever divine purpose lay ahead. He inhaled deeply, believing that God's plan would reveal itself in ways he had yet to understand, leaving a powerful anticipation in the hearts of those who trust in him. As the sun traversed higher in the sky, the warmth of the day began to envelop the kingdom. David, driven by a renewed spirit, called for his advisors and commanders. The time had come to reevaluate the strength of his kingdom and the integrity of its leaders. He knew that with each passing moment, the repercussions of his past weighed like a heavy cloak upon his shoulders. "Gather the mighty men of valor," he commanded, his voice filling the hall with authority. "Let us prepare for the battles that lie ahead, not of flesh and blood, but of spirit and soul." And so they assembled, men of great renown, valiant warriors who had shed blood for the land. As they entered the court, David saw in their eyes a flickering flame of loyalty. "We are called to lead and protect, and I have led you astray," he confessed, his heart echoing the humility learned through trials. "Yet hear me. The Lord our God is merciful, and he delivers those who seek him with sincerity. Let us rise together in strength, purging the darkness that has shrouded our hearts. One of his commanders, a fierce warrior named Joab, stepped forward. "My king," he said, "we stand ready to follow you. Our loyalty to you is unwavering, yet would the people not wonder who leads them? How shall we assure them that you are the king they once celebrated?" David, feeling the burden of his choices, remembered the faces of his people, once filled with joy and pride. It was in their eyes he saw the possibility of redemption. "I will lead them in worship and prayer. I will seek the Lord's guidance and share it openly. Together, we shall reclaim the hearts of Israel." The might of Israel assembled that day, not just as soldiers, but as brothers united under one sovereign God. The sound of their voices intertwined in songs of worship, ascending to the heavens. Mountains echoed the refrain, "Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised." The melodies lifted David's spirit, and in them he felt the presence of the Almighty drawing near. David's heart swelled as he recited the words of ancient songs of old, mingling them with his own newfound resolve. "O Lord, I have heard your speech and was afraid, I have seen your work, and in the midst of the years I will remember to reveal your righteousness." Habakkuk 3 verse 2. The proclamation solidified his commitment to renew the covenant between God and his people. Days turned into weeks, and with each dawn, David sought the face of God. He meditated on the law, poring over the scrolls that had once guided his forefathers. The people, witnessing the transformation, began to gather once more, seeking counsel, sharing burdens, and bringing their offerings before God. Hope began its return to the land. And in that time of restoration, a messenger arrived, breathless and urgent. "Behold, my king, the Philistines have amassed their forces. They come as a storm to lay waste to our land." With a steady heart, David summoned Joab and laid the burden of this news before him. "We shall not cower in fear. The Lord our God is a fortress, he is our refuge. We will face this trial with his strength." Their resolve strengthened, they prepared for battle, yet David knelt again, seeking divine wisdom. "Show me, O Lord, how to lead these men, how to triumph not just in battle, but in righteousness." As they marched forth, banners raised high, a whisper of uncertainty fluttered within David's heart. Yet, amidst the clamor, he held firm to a promise. A glimpse of God's plan was unfolding, a destiny intertwined with his people and all creation. And as they set forth toward the gathering battle, David could not shake the feeling that this was but a shadow of greater things to come. What victory awaits on the horizon? What deliverance is yet to be revealed by the hand of God? The questions lingered in the air, echoing along the valley where courage and faith would soon converge. As dawn broke over the horizon, a fresh light illuminated the land of Israel, whispering promises of hope and divine intervening grace. The armies of David, gathered in unity, sensed a divine presence surrounding them as they prepared for the impending confrontation. Anxiety mingled with expectant faith, and David, standing resolute, lifted his eyes toward heaven. "O Lord," he cried, "you have been our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. I place my trust in you, for your right hand is mighty to save. Guide us today, O King of glory, that we may bring honor to your name." At that moment, a hush fell over the camp. The warriors, their hearts emboldened by their king's prayer, turned their faces upward, sensing a surge of divine assurance flowing through their ranks. They recalled the words of their forebears, of the days when the Lord fought for his people with an outstretched arm, and they clung to that hope. "Let us remember the battle of Jericho," one soldier exclaimed, recalling the days of old. "Do we not have the same God who brought the walls of the mighty city crashing down? Surely he is with us now." A murmur of agreement swept through the men, and their spirits swelled with vigor. They donned their armor, the metal glinting in the rising sun, and made ready. They would march forth, not in their own strength, but in the power of the Almighty. As David prepared to lead them forth, Joab approached, concern flickering in his eyes. "My king, I hear the Philistines sing a song of war. Their numbers are great, and their hearts are fierce. Shall we not send scouts to discover their true intentions? David, recalling his father's words of wisdom, nodded. Indeed, we shall. For in the multitude of counselors there is safety. Thus, a band of scouts was sent forth to gather intelligence. They slipped into the shadows, their movements silent as the breath of wind through the trees. While they awaited the return of the scouts, David turned to his men. Remember the words of the Lord, fear not, for I am with you, be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41 verse 10. The men repeated the promises, their voices rising as one, the Lord is our strength. The Lord is our deliverer. Suddenly, the scouts returned, their faces marked with urgency. My king, the Philistines are not only fierce but also divided. They are camped in the valley, their numbers great, yet within their ranks lies discord. If we strike quickly, we may catch them off guard. David's heart raced as he sensed the divine hand at work. Let us prepare. We shall not wait for them to seek us. We will rise at dawn and move swiftly, for our God goes before us. He has already set the path to victory. With battle drums resounding through the camp, the men rallied, spirits alight with fervor. They sharpened their weapons and offered prayers of thanksgiving, rearranging their hearts for the fight ahead. The sun rose higher, casting light upon their armaments, promising victory entwined with righteousness. The day of battle arrived, and the sound of trumpets echoed through the valley. As the armies converged with cries of valor, David felt a stirring within him, knowing that God's purpose hung in the air. Amidst the clash, he whispered a prayer, remember us, O Lord, in this hour. Let the world see that you are a God who saves. As the two armies clashed, David's gaze was fixed upon the horizon, aware that this battle was but a mirror of a grander conflict in the heavens. The faith of a king and the courage of warriors came together in a singular moment of truth, poised on the brink of destiny yet to be revealed. For in that exhilarating hour, David would learn that the might of Israel rests not only upon the strength of their arms, but within the eternal plan of their God, a plan neither David nor the people fully understood. What glories awaited them in the light beyond the battle? What divine act lay just beyond their grasp, waiting for the moment to unfold? As the sound of clash and clamor filled the valley, David's heart thumped like a war drum. The land around was filled with the echo of swords and shields, and in the midst of the tumult, he sought the stillness of God's presence. The Philistines, despite their fierce resolve, were blind to the divine orchestrations at work among the Israelites. David called out to his men, stand firm. For the battle is not ours but the Lord's. Let faith rise as a banner over us. He raised his staff high, drawing strength from the promise that had been spoken to him. As they surged forward, a great roar shook the air, yet it was not merely the clamor of war. A sudden hush fell upon the Philistine ranks as the earth beneath them trembled, and a fearsome confusion took hold of their hearts. They looked among themselves, besieged by uncertainty, a sensation David knew stemmed from the very hand of God. Look! Joab pointed, his voice mingling with the wind. Their front lines falter. The enemy is turning upon itself. Indeed, as the dust cloud rose from the valley floor, the Philistines, engulfed in panic, scrambled, their ranks fracturing under the weight of their own dread. With courage renewed, David spurred his men, now is the time. Charge! Let us press on, for the Lord has gone before us. They roared like lions, their voices united as they surged forward, emboldened by the supernatural intervention swaying the hearts of their enemies. As arrows whizzed through the air and the sounds of war cried out, David's eyes caught sight of a figure in the distance, a warrior distinguished from the others. It was Goliath's brother, a giant of fearsome stature. Wrath glistened in his eyes, and he wielded a spear that gleamed menacingly under the sun. The memory of his past battle with Goliath flooded David's mind. The memory stirred anew a righteous fervor within him, how he had fought not with sword and spear but with the name of the Lord Almighty. He rallied his men, we will not shrink back. The same God who delivered our ancestors from giants will deliver us now. Remember the shepherd boy who faced the taunt of Goliath. Today, we stand under the same banner. With a fierce battle cry, David leaped forth, his slingshot spinning through the air as stones sang like prayers. The giant advanced, arrogance fueling each step, but David stood undaunted, eyes set upon the unfaltering faith in his heart. You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord of hosts. He declared, a fire igniting in those who witnessed the scene. The stone flew from David's hand, guided with divine precision, striking the giant squarely in his brow. With one last roar of defiance, the giant crumpled to the ground. The earth shook once more, but this time it was the cries of the Philistines, now in full retreat, that met David's ears. Victory! His men shouted, lifting their voices in praise, and David sank to his knees, overwhelmed by the surge of Holy Spirit joy sweeping through their ranks. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. He proclaimed, bursting forth in a song of thanksgiving. As the pursuit continued, David glimpsed something bright in the distance, a glimpse of hope breaking through the shadows of conflict. What awaited beyond the horizon? What eternal victory awaited God's people? For as they fought in the valleys, the heavens opened with revelations yet to unfold, whispering of divine promises and created pathways leading to glory. The full scope of God's sovereign plan remained hidden, beckoning them deeper into a redemptive journey. As the dust of battle settled and the cries of the vanquished filled the air, David arose from his knees, his heart swollen with gratitude. The Lord had indeed shown his mighty hand that day. With his faithful commanders surrounding him, David turned his gaze upon the retreating Philistines, their ranks resembling a disorganized storm scattering before the winds. Let us pursue them, he urged, fire kindled in his spirit. The Lord has given us victory, let us seek the spoils of our enemy. Remember the promises spoken to Abraham, that his seed shall inherit the earth. We are children of that covenant. His men shouted in affirmation, their eyes gleaming with hope and courage. They pressed on through the vale, fierce like a mighty flood unleashed, determined to capture the remnants of the foe who dared to challenge their God. But as they pursued, a moment of stillness enveloped David. He caught his breath as the air shifted, and he sensed the heaviness of something unprecedented. He stepped away momentarily from the throng, seeking the quietness that had once given him strength. He lifted his voice to heaven, invoking the name of the Lord, confident that the Holy Spirit would guide his thoughts. Lord, he prayed, you who are my light and my salvation, what is to unfold in this continued pursuit? Is there more than conquest at the edge of our victory? Show me your ways, O God. At that moment, a still small voice echoed within him, a whisper heavy with meaning, revealing something hidden within the heart of the conflict. The Lord's purposes were not solely to deliver them from enemies but to cultivate the hearts of his people for the journey ahead. A vision of Jerusalem, splendid and secure, flashed before David's eyes, the promised city where the Ark of the Covenant would rest, a holy dwelling where God's presence would bring solace and peace. Prepare the hearts of your people, O Lord, he continued, fervently praying, for we must build upon the testimony of your faithfulness. As the Israelites closed in on their fleeing adversaries, David rallied his men beside him. Brothers, we are to remember today. Not merely as victors in battle, but as witnesses of God's glory. Beyond the spoils, let us seek righteousness, let us restore that which has been lost. With hearts ignited by a renewed purpose, the men surged forth, believing that what was gained today was not merely in possessions but in their trust and understanding of God's sovereign plan. They fought fiercely, but in their hearts, they felt a divine call to lead their people not just in victory, but to the paths of righteousness and unity. Their pursuit led them to the edges of the valley where the remnants of the Philistine army lay scattered. They gathered the precious remnants, a multitude of camels, herds, and treasures, more than they could count. Yet as they celebrated, David paused, a question traversing his soul. Were they to take all the spoils for themselves? He remembered the wisdom of the Lord's instruction that was spoken through Moses regarding the share of spoils. In that instant, he made a decree before his men, "Let us share the spoils equally with those who could not come to fight. For everyone in Israel provides a part in our victory." And so it was, that through David's leadership, a spirit of generosity enveloped the hearts of the warriors, binding them together in a covenant of brotherhood, revealing the true strength found in unity. As the sun dipped low upon the horizon, shaping shadows of the past into a vibrant promise of the future, David felt a deeper truth awakening within him. What awaited at the dawn of new days, and how would the hand of the Almighty shape the hearts of his people through further trials and revelations? The time had come for God's promise to manifest in ways yet unimagined, beckoning David and his people into not just a season of conquest, but into the fullness of a divine purpose that stretched beyond their expectations. In that holy moment, a new chapter began, filled with divine mysteries yet to be revealed. As the dawn broke over the horizon, a golden light filtered through the valley, warming the earth and illuminating the gathered troops of Israel. Their hearts, still enkindled by the recent triumph, now beat in unison with the rhythm of praise. David, with his face lifted toward heaven, perceived the sacred moment that had arrived, a new day, pregnant with divine possibilities. "Let us offer our first fruits to the Lord," he declared, his voice resonating with holy fervor. "For it is He who has led us into this victory. It is by His strength that we have overcome." The men, hearing their king's words, raised their voices in adoration, intertwining their gratitude with the dawning light. The sound of their worship swept across the landscape, echoing as if the very stones would cry out in praise. As they assembled for prayer and sacrifice, David commanded the priests to bring forth the ark of the Lord. "May the presence of the Almighty dwell among us as we recall His wondrous deeds." The priests obediently obeyed, carrying the ark with reverent care, their garments shimmering in the morning rays. In that sacred moment, the spirit of unity thrummed among the people. As they sacrificed the first animals of their bounty, smoke rose toward the heavens, a fragrant offering pleasing unto the Lord. Each heartbeat of their collective worship was a seal of their covenant, a reaffirmation of their bond with the God who had not forsaken them. The Spirit of the Lord stirred mighty things within David. For he knew, as he had learned shepherding the flocks, that before leading a nation, a king must first lead himself to holiness. With a heart laid bare, he sought the Lord's direction anew. What further purpose shall unfold from our victory? What shall be our next steps, O Lord? As he awaited divine revelation, the sudden hush enveloped him, a profound silence that invited him deeper into contemplation. And in that stillness, a vision unfurled before him, clearer than any he had beheld before. He saw not merely a kingdom rising in strength, but a people transformed, gathered in one accord for the glory of God. He could envision the day when Jerusalem would stand as a beacon of hope, a city of worship, where all nations would come to honor the Almighty. Thus, emboldened by this revelation, David resolved, "We shall prepare the city of our God. We will build a sanctuary, a dwelling place for the Lord among us. No longer would the ark journey among tents, it shall rest in glory." The news of David's vision ignited a fervor within the ranks of Israel. Inspired by the endurance of their beloved king, they began to gather materials: gold, silver, and precious stones. With every hand joined in the labor of love, the vision of the holy city began to take shape in their hearts as much as in their hands. But amidst the enthusiasm, a shadow loomed within the heart of David. He recalled the prophecy spoken by Nathan, reminding him that while he had been chosen to lead, it would not be he who would build the temple. His son, yet unborn, would carry the mantle to complete this sacred task. "Fear not," David proclaimed to his people. "For though I may not see the temple rise, I shall lay down the vision and the dream that my son shall inherit. The Lord is faithful in all His promises, and our destiny is intertwined with His eternal story." As the people rejoiced in the task ahead, a ripple of expectancy filled the air. David knew by faith that they were embarking on a journey not solely marked by walls and stones but replete with spiritual awakening and divine purpose. And while they began to gather fervently, David pondered silently, what is to come as the shadows of our aspirations dance before the Lord? How shall the heavens bear witness to the unfolding of his perfect plan? For even now, a divine narrative was woven into the fabric of their lives' preparations for a sanctuary that would echo throughout generations, a testament to the faithfulness of God. The time had come for his promise to unfurl like a banner across the skies, beckoning them toward a destiny far greater than they could fathom, waiting to be revealed in all its glory. And so it was that in the light of dawn, the heart of David swelled with a mixture of hope and reverence. He approached the tent that housed the ark, his soul alive with the expectancy of God's presence. With each step, he felt the weight of his calling, the task of preparing a holy place, a dwelling for the Lord among his people. Gather the people. He called out, his voice strong and clear. Let all of Israel come together in one place to celebrate the goodness of our God. And as the families of Israel flocked to him, a great multitude gathered, unified in their sacred purpose. Let rejoicing fill the camp. David commanded, and the shouts of praise erupted like waves crashing upon the shore. Children laughed and danced, women weaved garlands of flowers, and men beat drums in holy exultation. It was a scene of divine jubilation, one that echoed the very essence of their covenant relationship with the Almighty. David ascended a small hill that overlooked the gathering and began to recount the stories of the Lord's deliverance. Remember how the Lord parted the seas, how he strengthened Gideon, and how he gave us victory over our enemies. His voice carried over the throng, igniting faith within their hearts. But amidst the joy of the people, David's heart remained anchored in prayer. Night after night, he fervently sought the Lord, seeking understanding and clarity about the building of the temple. In these encounters, an angel of the Lord appeared to him, clothed in radiant light. David, the angel's voice resonated like thunder and yet bore the gentleness of a whisper, "Your service is accepted, but the hands that build the temple shall be those of your son, Solomon." David, struck with reverence, fell on his face and wept, overwhelmed by the glory of God. "O Lord, I am but a servant. To you be all glory and honor," he declared. In his heart, he wrestled with doubt and joy, honoring the sovereignty of God while yearning to see the culmination of his vision. He rose with new resolve. "Though I shall not see the temple completed, I will prepare every detail for my son, entrusting him with this sacred task. Let everything I provide be of the finest quality, reflecting the greatness of our God." And so, through the days that followed, David pored over every estimate and plan, his faithful spirit rallying the hearts of the people. "Bring the finest timber. Gather stones. Let gold and silver flow like rivers into our endeavor." The people responded, fueled by the promise that God would dwell among them. Yet amidst this glorious undertaking, the adversaries of Israel began to stir. The Philistines, hearing of the blessings flourishing upon Israel, conspired to rise against them anew. The air thickened with tension, the very ground beneath their feet felt heavy with the impending strife. In a place of shelter, David sought the Lord with earnest cries. "O God, will you not fight for us again? Will you shield this endeavor and maintain us in your grace?" And in moments of silence, the Lord spoke to David's spirit, "Fear not, for I am with you. I shall make your enemies as dust beneath your feet, and every stone you lay for my house shall stand firm." This proclamation ignited fervor once again. Filled with courage, David rallied the troops. "Let us not falter. Our purpose is holy, and the Lord of hosts goes before us." As the armies readied themselves, a storm brewed on the horizon, darker than any that had ever gathered. David gazed upon the skies, sensing that the destiny of Israel rested on the outcome of their faith, just as the future of the temple lay in their hands. What awaited them in this battle? Little did David know that triumph or tribulation would further reveal God's unmatched sovereignty, intricately weaving their struggles into the mighty tapestry of salvation. For even now, as the war drum sounded, the heavens held secrets of an everlasting covenant, waiting to unfurl in the pages of history. And the night fell deep upon the camp, as the flickering flames of the torches cast shadows that danced like spirits amongst the tents of Israel. David, undeterred by the encroaching darkness, took his place at the forefront of the armies, his heart steadfast in the promises of the Almighty. The air was thick with the scent of anticipation, mingling with the fear that gripped the hearts of men. "Behold," he called out, raising his voice to penetrate the stillness, "for we have not come this far to turn back. The God of our fathers is with us. He has delivered us from bondage, he has parted the waters for our feet, and he will not abandon us now." As dawn's first light crept over the hills, the echoes of Israel's history surged within him like a tide, renewing his strength. Let us remember the covenant of our God. The promise made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Lord's hand is not too short to save. His word swelled amongst the warriors, igniting flames of courage in their hearts. But even as David spoke, the enemy drew near, their drums sounding like thunder in the distance. The Philistines, emboldened by the thought of riches returned to their grasp, marched with a fierceness born of desperation. They sought to undo what the Lord had wrought among his people. Their shouts rang out with fierce resolve, taunting the very heritage of Israel. David, aware of the gravity of the moment, fell upon his knees. "O Lord, grant us victory this day. Let not our foes rejoice at our downfall, but let thy name be glorified through our triumph." His voice was a fervent plea, echoing in the chambers of heaven. And there, in that sacred communion, the Spirit of the Lord stirred within him. The weight of the battle was not solely upon the shoulders of men but upon the actively divine. "Stand firm, thy people. The Lord shall fight for us," he declared, as he rose, infused with strength. With a rallying cry, he led the soldiers forth, the sound rising like thunder over the hills. The troops rushed ahead, not with mere swords and shields, but with faith anchored in the promises of their God. The first clash came with a roar, thunder against thunder, steel met steel, and cries of valor filled the air. In the midst of chaos, a divine presence watched over them. Angels, unseen but felt, ministered to the hearts of the weary. "Fear not, for the Lord of hosts stands guard," they whispered gently into the minds of faithful soldiers, quelling the tremors of doubt. The battle raged, fierce and unyielding, yet the tide of victory began to shift. For every stroke of despair, the Lord countered with hope. A soldier's heart was filled with renewed vigor, a spear pierced true, and cries for deliverance rose to the heavens. As the sun reached its zenith, a hush fell over the battlefield. The Philistines began to falter, their resolve crumbled under the weight of Israel's faith. Like a tidal wave of revelation, David saw it, the hand of God moving mightily, routing the enemy and throwing them into confusion. With the last echoes of battle waning, David stood amidst his people, the dust settling in the wake of God's intervention. Praise be to the Lord! For he has granted us victory this day. He has shown us that our struggles only set the stage for his glory. And as they raised their hands in gratitude, David's heart swelled with understanding. It was not merely about the army's might or the temple's completion, no, it was about the very essence of their relationship with the Lord, the God who had always fought for his people. In that moment of victory, a new understanding dawned. Every triumph was a whisper of the eternal covenant comings, a roadmap unfolding the grandeur of God's purpose. Little did they know that in the shadows of this triumph, deeper mysteries lingered, mysteries woven into the very fabric of history that would prepare the way for a promised king, a son who would ultimately bridge heaven and earth. For the cries of this very moment would resonate for ages, revealing the unfathomable depths of God's salvific plan. As the dust of battle settled, the warriors of Israel erupted in joyous celebration, their voices raised like the sound of many waters, proclaiming the might of their God. The air was fragrant with the scent of victory, and the sun, glowing brightly, seemed to shine directly upon them as if the Lord himself had taken delight in their triumph. With hearts ablaze with fervor, David called for a gathering among the troops. "Men of Israel, behold the works of our God. It was not by our might nor by our power that we have prevailed, but by the Spirit of the Lord." His voice pierced through the echoes of their exultation, grounding their jubilance in the source of their strength. The soldiers, still panting with valor, gathered around him, their eyes shining with the reflection of glory. Each man, from the mightiest warrior to the youngest recruit, knew within himself that this day would be etched into the chronicles of Israel. Let us bring offerings and sacrifices to the Lord. Let us express our gratitude, for he has defended us against our enemies. As the sun began to dip low in the sky, casting long shadows across the land, they began to prepare a feast, a sacred gathering to honor the one who had delivered them. In the midst of this fervent celebration, David felt a stirring in his spirit. He withdrew from the throng, seeking the solitude of a rocky outcrop, from where he could gaze over the camp and offer unto God his heartfelt prayers. "O Lord," he uttered, words mingling with the whisper of the breeze, "Thou hast shown me thy faithfulness once more. I wonder, O God, what more do you have in store for your people? What path do you lay for us, guided by your hand?" For a moment, there was silence, an expectancy that enveloped the air like a gentle mist. Then, as though responding to the yearning of David's heart, the heavens stirred, and the stillness was broken by a voice, soft yet piercing. "David, my servant, listen closely. You have fought valiantly, and this day is but the beginning of my greater plans for Israel." Hearkening to the sacred call, David turned, his heart racing. The weight of the Lord's words sank deep into his spirit, igniting hope and reverence. "Speak, O Lord, for thy servant is listening. Your victories henceforth will not merely be against flesh and blood, but will usher in a new age. A king shall arise from your lineage who will shepherd my people with justice and mercy. He will establish an everlasting kingdom, one where my presence will dwell among them." A profound awe enveloped David, as he understood that the wars fought in the present were for the salvation of generations yet to come. "How can it be, O Lord?" he gasped, "what can I do to prepare for such a gift?" "Continue in faithfulness, David. Lead my people with wisdom and integrity. Your heart must remain devoted unto me. For the one who will come will embody the hope of the world, and he shall be revered not as a conqueror, but as the Prince of Peace," came the reply as the clouds drifted apart, revealing rays of light, illuminating David's figure. As the shadows lengthened and the day closed its eyes to the dusk, David returned to the camp, a renewed spirit of purpose coursing through him. He gathered the people once more and proclaimed, "Rejoice, for the Lord has set his favor upon us. A king shall come from among us, a beacon of hope for all nations." But as they gathered to praise, little did they know the depth of this revelation would herald trials unimagined, for the path to such a kingdom would not be without struggles and sacrifices. What mysteries lay ahead were hidden within the fabric of God's sovereign plan, a divine tapestry awaiting the appointed time to unravel before the eyes of Israel and the world. As the sun dipped below the horizon again, cloaking the kingdom of Israel in celestial hues, David stood in the twilight, his heart imbued with awe and fervor. The weight of the promise echoed in his spirit, the arrival of the king who would shepherd God's people. "O Lord," he prayed, "grant me the wisdom to lead in your ways, to prepare the hearts for that which is to come with courage and devotion." In the sacred stillness, the Lord's gentle whisper resonated, revealing the intricate plans that lay before David and his beloved Israel. "Fear not, my servant, for the trials ahead shall strengthen your legacy. Each victory will unfold the greater tapestry of my redemption, a kingdom united under my name." With renewed resolve, David called upon his people once more and shared with them the divine promise of the coming king. The hearts of the crowds, knitted together in faith and anticipation, ignited with hope. "Let us prepare a place for the Lord, a sanctuary that reflects his glory, for within these walls, generations will gather to know him." Thus began the monumental task of building the temple, an undertaking that would stand as a testament to God's enduring faithfulness. Each stone laid with prayer, each beam set with purpose, reflected the commitment of a people dedicated to the God who had chosen them. The people toiled with joy. It was not merely for David, nor for their own glory, but for the Almighty whose presence had been the essence of their identity. Days turned to months, and the city flourished as preparations unfolded. David's heart swelled with gratitude as he marveled at the progress. Yet, within him remained a humble awareness of his own shortcomings. "For all my triumphs, I am still a man in need of your grace," he repeated in prayer, remembering well the weight of his past. In a vision, the Lord spoke to him, "Your son Solomon shall be the one to build the temple, yet your faithfulness now shall pave the way for him. Though the crown rests upon your brow, it is a crown of service." In wisdom, David heeded the divine guidance, poring over plans for the temple, gathering artisans, and providing for every detail. He would not see the completion of that sacred space, but he would prepare the foundation upon which others would construct a future of holiness. "Glory and honor be to you, O God of Israel," he proclaimed to the people, igniting their spirits once more. As the temple began to take shape, a somber reminder of the trials facing Israel lingered. Outside the city, enemies stirred, their hearts filled with animosity, poised to disrupt the sanctuary's divine purpose. But David, with unwavering faith, stood firm, rallying his warriors not in fear but in the unshakable knowledge of God's protection. "The Lord is our stronghold, he will not forsake his people, nor abandon the work of his hands." At the apex of their preparations, the time came to dedicate the temple. David, his heart ablaze with passion and gratitude, gathered the tribes together, proclaiming, "Come. Let us bring forth our offerings as a sweet aroma to the Lord, and let our praise fill the heavens." As the people came forth, a symphony of worship arose, enveloping them in a sacred unity. The priests, adorned in garments of grandeur, brought the Ark of the Covenant into the inner sanctum, where the presence of God was to dwell among them. A hush fell over the multitude as the very glory of God filled the temple, a radiant light enveloping the worshippers as their praises reached the heavens. "Great is your faithfulness, O Lord. We dedicate this house to you," David cried, falling to his knees in reverence. And a voice from the heavens spoke with clarity and assurance, "I have heard your prayer. This temple shall stand as a dwelling place for my name forever, and I shall bless those who seek me within these walls." With hearts awakened by the Spirit, David's people grasped the magnitude of what had unfolded. They stood not only in the shadow of a building but in the light of divine destiny, a representation of God's eternal promise to his people etched in stone and heart. In the years that followed, much would shift both in Israel and beyond. Trials and tribulations would test the strength of the covenant, and the prophetic whispers of old would echo through the ages, reminding them of the king yet to come, the one who would reign from the lineage of David and usher in the fullness of God's glorious redemption. So it was that as David grew older, each day would bring forth new layers to his understanding of God's faithfulness, understanding that the heart of the Lord is intricately woven into the very fabric of the covenant throughout generations. And in those quiet moments while resting before the Lord, David would often reflect, knowing that his legacy would not only rest in the temple's beauty but in the faith that coursed through the lives of those who sought the Lord within. He prayed that their hearts would remain steadfast, resolute against the tides of time, for their greatest victory was not merely in conquest but in communion with the Almighty, a reality that transcended every earthly aspiration. And thus, the tale of David, the shepherd king, would be told for generations, a reminder that God shapes histories not only through triumphs, but through valleys of faith where hearts converge, united in the hope of a promised future, echoing until the dawn of eternity when the King of Kings would finally come. Now, dear friend, I invite you to carry this story forward. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next powerful biblical stories, full of truth and inspiration. Leave a like now, and help spread God's word through the algorithm. It only takes a second, yet can restore faith. Comment your reflections and insights, share how this story has impacted your own faith journey. And share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth today. This is the moment to help spread biblical truth. Remember, only true believers understand the necessity of supporting biblical content as we reach more souls for Christ. Don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony.